At the Baftas last night, William saying, I'm not in a calm state. I mean, it's all kicking off and it's all going on. So we thought we'd better check in with our favourite royal correspondent, who is, of course, Kinsey Schofield in Hollywood, California. Kinsey, very good morning to you.
Mike, I feel so far away when there's so much big news.
Yes, I mean, it's quite extraordinary. I mean, the first question I guess I must ask you is, how is America seeing this story? How are they seeing the royal family, you know, Prince Charles, King Charles, I should say, coming over to do a state visit not very far from now, in what, less than 2 months?
Yeah, at the end of April.
Yeah. So what's America saying? I mean, they must be in shock like we are.
We are in shock, but there's this very strange resentment that is simmering. Americans are waiting for American leadership to be held accountable. I think that there was a moment of relief because it felt like, oh, look, someone's actually getting in trouble for their association with Epstein. Not even, what we know or associate, I should say, Andrew and Epstein for, which is young females, allegedly. Andrew says it's not true, but for the documents, the DOJ documents that suggest that Andrew was sharing government secrets with Jeffrey Epstein while he was in the role of government envoy. So there was a moment of relief where we thought, well, finally, somebody's someone aside from Ghislaine Maxwell is being punished for their relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. But now we patiently wait for the Clintons' testimony on Friday, and we wonder if Bill Gates will have to do more than one highly choreographed interview. When will any of the American leadership or the American personalities that were so chummy with Epstein have to answer for that relationship?
Yes, exactly right. And I mean, we don't know at all how long this is going to go on for. The feeling is that it's going to be a very long investigation, that there's going to be property search probably for the best part of the next several weeks. We're going to be looking at flight logs in Essex at Stansted Airport. They're looking into what happened at Royal Lodge. They're looking into, so much stuff. And a lot of people are beginning to ask the question, why is it that Andrew, despite the fact that everybody, has no sympathy for him, is the only person sort of seemingly being investigated here?
I know, and I don't want to be a negative Nancy, but it is my understanding that prosecuting Andrew for sex crimes in the UK would be incredibly hard.
Yeah.
At this point in time, there are 9 different police forces investigating him, but there's a lack of willing witnesses here. Virginia Giuffre has tragically passed away. You can't cross-examine her book. A UK court would not accept that as fact. RICO, which is what government law enforcement here in the States got P. Diddy on and R. Kelly on, which was prostitution across state lines, doesn't exist in the UK the way it does here. The age of consent is much younger. And to quote one of my sources, what does it prove if Epstein flew women in on his plane who later had dinner with Andrew? Who saw him bed them? Who says they were not delighted to bed a prince if they did? So I think that people might have some very unrealistic expectations about what could actually come to fruition here.
Right. I mean, there's also quite a lot of questions being asked about how hard it is going to be to prove that he committed misconduct in public office, because that is also quite a tricky law, which is difficult to kind of get over the line, if you like. And so it's entirely possible that despite all of the things that have happened, that Andrew doesn't get charged with anything.
I know. And if that is the case, then I do think that Parliament should remove him from the line of succession. I mean, I say that because I think the royal family, they can't do it. That is that's legislation that has to happen. But something else has to happen. Otherwise, the anger surrounding the British royal family and the public sense that they've got a get out of jail free card will continue to just rise and rise and
Yeah,
rise.
exactly. And meanwhile, the Baftas last night, big night out for an awful lot of Hollywood celebrities. Sean Penn winning. I don't know if you've seen that movie, one battle after another, but it's an unusual film. Let's put it that way. I watched it over the weekend. It's quite good. But quite sort of baffling in so many different ways. Leonardo DiCaprio seems to be morphing into Jack Nicholson, aged about 75, on those yachts that you used to see him on in Monaco. But the front pages today, full of pictures of Prince William and Kate. She was at the rugby on Saturday and seemingly laughing it up, having a great time. He's quoted this morning as having said, "I'm not in a calm state," which is kind of a very unroyal thing to say, isn't it?
Well, to be fair, he was discussing a movie that is highly emotional, and
Yeah.
he was saying, I'm just not there. I'm not in the right place to watch it," which it might have been a very innocent comment that we're all like jumping on based
Right.
on the current circumstances. I mean, what I can tell you from my sources, um, this is not the way William would ever want to inherit the throne.
Right.
William does not want his father to abdicate over this scandal and have to step up and take on this responsibility so soon. And I really sympathize with him there. So, do I think he's not in a calm state? Probably not. But I also know that they're doing everything in their power to navigate a very difficult situation.
Yeah. And I mean, I was watching over the weekend various different commentators. Andrew Morton, who I haven't seen for a long time, who I used to work with, believe it or not, years and years ago before he became a superstar novelist, author. He used to work for the News of the World. And he and I tracked, funnily enough, one of the women who had been a very big girlfriend of Andrew's in Canada before he married Fergie. That's how far back I go, right? And he was saying that he thinks that it might be the case that the trip to America by Charles could be a watershed moment, because it could be that he then shows himself to be the acceptable face of the monarchy, while Andrew clearly is, the black sheep.
Wow, I love that take, because I do think that I'm worried about April. And we saw the way that there were some protesters at Windsor when President Trump was there for his state visit, and they projected images of Trump and Epstein along Windsor Castle. So I have been concerned about what the reaction will be in April. But yeah, I don't think that the king should abdicate. I think that a crisis is an opportunity to show you got to turn it into a moment, a leadership moment. The crown, if you believe in the monarchy, is divinely ordained. And in the traditional understanding of the monarchy, the role of the king is not a personal achievement, it's a divine responsibility. And if you believe what you're supposed to believe, the position is assigned by God, not by public opinion or the actions of a family member. Abdicating in response to scandal would contradict this sacred duty. And it would suggest that divine appointment is conditional on the behavior of relatives, which is absolutely ludicrous. We did not demand that King George step down because his brother was partying with Nazis.
Yes, I think that's a very good point. And finally, I suppose you can't have a conversation about any of this with you, Kinsey, without mentioning the dreaded Duchess of Sussex, who's apparently in the Sun this morning, teaching us all how to serve champagne. And now, she never does anything by accident, so what is she doing?
Well, my favorite, Mike, was when we were all losing our minds over that image of Andrew being released. I mean, maybe it happened a few minutes before that, but as that image is coming out, or as we're all trying to process the idea of a member of the royal family being arrested in for the first time in my lifetime, Meghan Markle sends an email blast telling everybody that they should buy it says, like, when the temperature drops, we start by striking a match, a steady flame on the table, soft light in the corners of the room, the familiar comfort of a scent that instantly changes the mood. Is it going to change the mood of the uncle that just got shoved in the slammer? I mean, it was wild to watch a senior royal being taken into custody, and there's Meghan pushing her wickless candles. It's just a masterclass in tone-deaf timing and proof that self-awareness is not part of Meghan Markle's strategy ever.
No.
And it also came out over the weekend that her father is getting fitted for a prosthetic leg because he had that emergency surgery last year. So, you know, her family's still dealing with some trials and some difficulty, but there's Harry and Meghan courtside at a basketball game.
Yeah, looking as miserable as hell. A wickless candle. What a great sort of metaphor for Prince Harry, or you know, Harry, formerly known as Prince Harry. But yeah, listen, brilliant as ever, Kinsey. Great to talk to you. Thank you so much for spending some time with us, Kinsey Schofield. Tell us how we can get a hold of your podcast while you're here, because I always forget to ask you.
No, you're fine. Kinsey Schofield Unfiltered. Thank you so much for asking. I appreciate that.
And how are the dogs? Pooch is asking because he's obsessed with your dogs. Are they there?
Rue, come here. Rue, come here. I have a treat. Rue, will anybody move fast? They're not moving. Oh, wait, here comes Bigley. Here comes Bigley.
Here we go.
Needs a haircut. Bigley needs a haircut.
There we go. Thank you very much indeed. Kinsey Schofield, what a woman. Fantastic. Great to see you, Kinsey. There we are. Hello.
Thank you.
This is the dog-friendly breakfast show. It's the only place you can do it. Kinsey Schofield, thank you so much indeed. In Hollywood, California.